Man. Hey. Shakur, boy. They coming for you. Hey, look, I'm looking right now. They coming for your top, bro. Nobody rocking. Nobody rocking with Shakur right now, man. You blew it. You blew it, bro. But we got to talk about it. What up, YouTube? Big T, have a bad box of TV, man. Get your big goof ass in here and hit the bag. Hit that like button for your boy. That helps the channel. You know, I appreciate that love. Shout out my gang, D1 Merc, 1ML21, Skinny JT, Black Jesus. My guy, Troy Jack, He1, Rebel Life, Modern King, Letitia, YK World, Tyree Celestine. Big shout out to my Aussie fam who was at the live last night. Mark Wynn, New Church. I seen you guys. And also my co-host, man, Punch Drunk. And Sean Don. Big shout out 913 Boxer. Donnie Luciano, I saw you out there, bro. This was hard to watch, man. Even for somebody like me who's I feel like a purist, man. A hardcore boxing fan. I enjoy the sweet science to the fullest. And it was even a little hard for me to watch. I still enjoyed it. And I don't think a lot of people are going to say that. I don't think a lot of people are going to utter those words about Shakur Stevenson versus Edwin De Los Santos. That they enjoyed the fight. I could see the mental game there. I could see De Los Santos trying his best to figure out that Shakur Stevenson defense. I enjoyed seeing him try to make different adjustments, but it was hard. Let's keep it a buck. And I'm not mad at anybody who saw this fight and hated it, thought it was a whack-ass fight, a boring-ass fight. I get it. And I feel sorry for Shakur Stevenson, man, because this was the opportunity right here. Was a big event going on in Vegas. People who normally ain't paying attention to the sport, probably paying attention to the sport. It appears that he did have a hard time, selling in this arena. I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people didn't know this was going down on a Thursday night, man. It was just bad timing for me, I believe. Maybe if you let a superstar, a real superstar in the sport of boxing hold down a Thursday night, but to ask that of a Shakur Stevenson, I just don't think, it helped, to say the least. But that has nothing to do with the performance from Shakur Stevenson. He said it himself. He was disappointed in himself and in his performance. Now, it almost feels that he alluded to maybe an injury, saying that, sometimes you can overtrain. He may have overtrained. He asked Shakur Stevenson about the left hand. Maybe it was an injury. Shakur being reluctant to answer, saying he didn't want to make any kind of excuses, but he was most definitely disappointed in his performance, to say the least. And I think everybody was, to be completely honest. I don't think anybody enjoyed that fight from Shakur Stevenson last night, outside of the purists, the hardcore boxing purists who can appreciate the defense and the sweet science. But again, even if you are one of those fans, it was still hard to watch, right? And listen, you got to give De Los Santos his knocks as well. He actually got the kind of Shakur Stevenson that he really needed. The one that was reluctant to throw, more worried about defense than offense. And a different style from De Los Santos, being that he is that fast and has that greater footwork, I felt like could have prevailed last night. I think they should have abandoned the box with Shakur game plan. Once you figure that isn't working halfway through the fight, you're not getting a steady target. You're not, getting home with a lot of your shots. Again, I thought the best game plan for De Los Santos was to get in there and mug him, maul him, cut, shorten that distance. Now, he tried to use his speed and use his power to kind of dart in and let those, doubling up those jabs, and he threw some looping right hands, with his explosiveness, but it just wasn't enough. Again, this is Shakur Stevenson. That defense is buttoned all the way up. At some point in time, for De Los Santos. I got to knock him too, because this is your opportunity, right? This is for the vacant WBC scrap. You got to go balls to the wall at some point. You know what I mean? You got to just go for broke at some point. And he never did, right? He had all of the tools to frustrate and keep Shakur Stevenson's hands in his pocket. And he was able to do that. He really was. And I don't care what nobody say. I believe Kriegel had it 4-0 unofficial. I got to look at the official scorecards. But that was far from the truth. I really feel like the activity of De Los Santos stole a few of those rounds in the first half of the fight. Now, I do believe Shakur Stevenson got a little bit more comfortable, was able to open up a little bit more moving on through the second half of the fight. Well, and I ain't even want to say necessarily open up, but, find holes in De Los Santos' defense a little bit more in the second half of the fight. And I think a lot of people, it's the consensus that he just pretty much ran away with it. After, at this level, it becomes technical and it's a hit and get hit or a hit and miss type of situation for Shakur Stevenson. And I think he did that halfway well through the second half of the fight. Of course, boring for majority, but he was able to pull that off, and it was no doubt about who the winner of this fight was. But for De Los Santos, man, not just leaving it all in. When you hear people say leave it all in the ring, that means you had did everything you could possibly do to win the fight. Now, real quick, let's ask ourselves this: given watching this fight with the WBC scrap on the line, did De Los Santos do everything he could possibly do to win this fight? Yeah, he tried to bring the fight to Shakur Stevenson, but to an extent, I felt like at some point he had to lose all respect for Shakur Stevenson, but he kept that respect the entire fight. You know what I mean? Again, once that initial game plan failed him, especially in the second half, it's time to abort. You got to abort mission and start swinging for the fences and trying to get this kid out of here, or at least get a knockdown or something. That never came from De Los Santos, and you got to give him a knock for that, because you didn't leave it all in the ring, in my opinion. And then he also had all of the tools, I believe, to do so. Like I told you guys coming into this fight, that was his best shot from the beginning. You're not going to get in there and outbox the toughest guy to hit in boxing history. You feel me? You're not going to get in there and outbox him. That means you got to get in there and touch him. He don't touch you. That's not happening with Shakur Stevenson. At some point, you got to go for broke. At some point, you got to start mugging, mauling, making it ugly, smothering Shakur Stevenson, cutting the distance, and just letting it go. And De Los Santos didn't do that. Listen, the boxing world reacted. Bottom line, the boxing world reacted. Devin Haney took to his Twitter. He said this: stop that scared narrative. Nobody was ever scared of that bum. He wanted clout. That's all they used my name for. He also went on to say this, man. Should have offered this bum, speaking of Shakur Stevenson, should have offered this bum 10%. I was being too generous. And, of course, we all remember him offering Shakur Stevenson 25%. Now, looking at this performance, he feels like he should have offered him 10%. And Gervonta Davis, right there, standing on Devin Haney's neck, says, that's what I'm offering you, son. Damn. If you're Devin Haney, how do you, because obviously Tank Davis feels exactly how Devin feels about Shakur Stevenson, and of course Gervonta thinks both of those guys are bums. But Cambosis, he was basically asleep. Ryan Garcia said that he was falling asleep. Everybody said that this was a boring fight. Not exciting. And I gotta admit, man, even though I appreciate the styles, it was a style clash, but definitely not exciting. Not really hard to watch. If you're an impatient casual fan, or you just a bloodthirsty hardcore boxing fan, really hard to watch, man. But you guys let me know what you think in the comment section on this one, man. Shakur Stevenson boxes his way to a victory. Neither one of these guys had any lumps, blood, black eyes, no, nothing. Both of them look like they can go star in a movie right goddamn now. Shakur Stevenson over De Los Santos. De Los Santos, you blew it as well. You know who I got with me, man? Talk to him, Roger.
Most motherfuckers don't know shit about boxing.